the looks that drives the girls wild. I've got the moves that really move them. I send chills up and down their spines. I'm just a sexy boy. I'm not your boy toy. I'm just a sexy boy. I'm not your boy toy. I make them hot. I make them shiver. Their knees get weak whenever I'm around. They see me walk, they hear me talk. I make them feel like they're on cloud nine. I'm just a sexy boy. Oh, I'm not your boy toy. I'm just a sexy boy. I'm not your boy toy. Ain't your heart out, girl? Hands off the merchandise. I'm just a sexy boy. Oh, I'm not your boy toy. I'm just a sexy boy. I'm not your boy I am a real American. Fight for the rights of every man. I am a real American. Fight for what's right. Fight for your life. When it comes crashing down and it hurts inside, you gotta take a stand, it don't hurt to hide. If you hurt my friends, then you hurt my pride. I gotta be a man, I can't let it slide. I am a real American. Fight for the rights of every man. I am a real American. Fight for what's right. Fight for your life. I feel strong about right and wrong. And don't take trouble for very long. I'll get something deep inside of me. Courage is the thing that keeps us free. I am a real American. Fight for the rights of every man. I am a real American. Fight for what's right. Fight for your life. I am a real American. Fight for the rights of every man. I am a real American. Fight for what's right.
What's going on, everybody? Happy Wednesday morning. Thanks for joining us on a special Wednesday morning edition of the Going Broadway Podcast. Special in more ways than one. Alex and Cole with you this morning. Cole, what's going on?
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the greatest wrestling podcast ever. We have a great show in store for you, even if it is on a Wednesday. I know it just feels weird being on a Wednesday, but we had some severe weather that's starting to come in, so we're trying to avoid all of that junk. Quick shout out before I forget to Thomas Russell. He sent me some really cool John Cena stuff that I geeked out over.
Yeah, you did.
So thank you again for that. It was really dope. So,
and you can show that off a little later if you would so choose to do so. But nonetheless, before we get to you showing off your Cena fanboy stuff, we're also going to do another one or two draft board segments if you joined us for our 12-hour stream this past Saturday. First of all, thank you for those that did join. It was a ton of fun, and we're going to keep on rolling with our brand drafts. So we'll do one or two more of those after we finish talking with our very special guest today. So today we have the honor and privilege to welcome in one of the rare, what I will call dual threats as it relates to combat sports. She is professional MMA star and professional wrestling star, and from what I've seen on a lot of her videos across social media, professional mom as well. We're proud to welcome in Marina Shafir. Marina, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Thank you for having me. I'm pretty good. I'm on the tail end of a pretty big move, so much better spirits than about a week ago. So,
yeah, I was talking with my wife about a month or so ago, and we were trying to figure out combined how many times we have moved over the last, 15 years, whether it's, since we've been married or, separately in college. And it's just like, I'm just so sick of moving. So that's a whole nother topic in itself. But again, thanks for taking the time with us today. We really appreciate it. We do want to make sure we allow for plenty of time for some Q&A from our viewers later on. So as best as possible, Cole and I will try to keep our portion of the discussion brief and really just touch on some of the highlights of your career, as well as what you've been up to recently. Sound good?
oh yeah, I mean, I was really looking forward to some small talk, but that's cool.
There will definitely be some small talk in here. I mean, it always just seems to gravitate towards that, which small talk is one of my favorite things. So we'll sprinkle some of that in here and there. But Cole, why don't you kick us off?
let's start with some big talk, though. We usually like to discuss with our guests what you've been up to more recently first, and then kind of work our way back. So here recently, we've seen you wrestle for AEW Dark, and you have your own AEW merch. However, nothing has been officially announced that Marina Shafir is All Elite. If you're allowed to say, do you have a contract with AEW? And regardless of whether you do or not, what brought you to the AEW arena?
So I got to wrestle in Atlanta for CWF, and after one of my matches, I had somebody come up to me, and I had no idea who was talking to me. I just, that environment is still really new to me. Like, it was nice to get a perspective. Like, this conversation was like one of the first conversations after I hit the curtain, and I'm like, I'm just still in it, adrenaline filled, and like one of the first things I'm thinking is like, damn, like I'm so not used to having immediate conversations like right after my matches, and it was really weird. It was like really weird that somebody had come up to me like so urgently to like chat with me.
Right.
And yeah, and it just happened to be one of like the recruiters for AEW, and he just had asked me to come to a dark taping, and that's where we're at right now.
Awesome. I love the fact that, at least from what you're telling us, you're not officially signed, but they still have enough confidence or just overall, just respect for you that they've given you your own merch, which I just think that's really cool.
Thanks.
So,
it's just been a minute. It's just been a very, all I'm going to say is that like, it's been a very, telling and, like very interesting and information filled experience thus far.
I bet.
That's really all I ever want out of life. I just want, more information so I can just do the best I can with it.
Sure.
And, nothing official. So you heard it here first.
To be continued. So is there maybe one or two specific people, whether it's AEW or maybe possibly somewhere on the independent circuit, that you'd love to have a match or a feud with?
Yeah, there's a few people. It's none of the bigger names.
Okay.
I've gotten to know some pretty freaking interesting people, and people who don't have the spotlight on them. And I really find their mentalities to be very interesting, because they tend to be a little bit more, I don't know. Not even they tend to be a little bit more. It's just the conversations that I've had with people. So I'll give you an example. Somebody who had helped me like almost immediately was Heather Monroe.
Okay.
And, I just was very, it's interesting the chemistry that you figure out that you have with people. And once I met her, like she's just a true professional. And I feel like the unique connection and chemistry that I ended up having with her, like she's something completely different from me, right? Completely different. Like we're two completely different people on a people spectrum. And I know it's not as like, I could probably do some really fun shit with her.
Oh, for sure.
I would love to ruffle her fucking fan and feathers. I would love to do that. But on the bigger grand scheme of things, let's talk like other companies, like Impact. Who are the top girls there? I feel like I could ruffle lots of feathers there. Let's talk about, my brain is just, I'm sorry, I just had an instant migraine. Holy moly.
You're okay.
Ooh. This move has been really stressful. Sorry, guys.
No, you're fine.
Like
Take your time.
Right in between my eyes. Woo.
I get those a lot too, like those weird. I get headaches, period. But like just those tension headaches that are like either back here or those ones between your eyes, like you were just talking about. Because I on top of doing this, I work in accounting and finance as well, so I totally can understand the random onset headache thing. I mean, because I get them all the time. So yeah, no worries. If you need to take a couple seconds, feel free.
I appreciate it. Like it's been happening in the mornings a lot more. I had a kink in my neck, right?
Yeah.
But they figured out that it like strings all the way down to my back. Whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways, once this is part of like the, I don't know, getting better, but I still have headaches. So That's weird. Honestly, I just want to start beef with anybody who wants to start beef with me. That's it.
I love it.
Sounds like a problem.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I know. I want to figure out what the fuck I have.
It's all
you're
right.
good. You're good.
I'm very passionate about this, and that was very frustrating that I couldn't just get it out. Okay. I just really want to figure out what it is that I have to offer.
Yeah.
And when I got into this, I was around a lot of people who wanted to change the game and add their flair and genuinely move the needle for women's wrestling. And I want to do that. I want to be a part of that. I have a feeling if it happens, the way that I imagine it, I just want to leave something for everyone, every person who wants to find themselves through this way. Because I found myself late. I didn't join this party until 4 years ago.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm still learning. It's just so easy to call out names. It's so easy to stir the pot a little bit. And I've also learned that it's a timing thing. I could sit here and just give you all the, I didn't want to just blurt out names because that's the easy way to just get it done. And, I'm a little bit more about that. I want to do more. I really want to be out there, and I just want any opportunity to offer something.
No, that's awesome. I mean, there's definitely something to be said for being more strategic and, like you said, kind of the timing aspect of things kind of play a role in, just more than just calling someone out and just starting a feud because, hey, I mentioned your name. So, no. But
exactly.
I like it.
And that's why I really, really, I find wrestling fans to be so interesting because they understand that timing thing in that sense. They keep paying attention and they keep refreshing their Twitter feed because they're maybe they have a feeling something's going to happen, or they don't want to miss it. They want to be a part of when it happens, and the people, even if they're half paying attention, they're just
right.
paying attention to other people who are paying attention. It still is a part of the same thing. And, I don't want my moment with another broad to be on a podcast. No offense.
No, none taken whatsoever.
And I think it has a lot to go into as well. Anything can happen now in wrestling. Especially since you've really joined the business has become so much more of, there's all these different companies, and the Forbidden Door is now open, and there's all these different avenues and aspects to it that makes it really, really interesting to where fans are kind of holding on every second, looking at Twitter, looking at Facebook, looking at social media, wanting to know who's the next person to do something that's out of the norm, or a matchup that we've never heard of, or or never thought we could ever have,
or what the next rumor is.
Right. It's just nonstop, the stuff that's going on right now with Cody Rhodes and Brandy Rhodes and all this stuff. Who would have thought that would even be a conversation, 2 years ago,
2 months ago,
Exactly.
So watching wrestling is a lot of fun these days because it's a never ending whirlwind of what could happen, I guess.
Yeah.
But kind of going back, so you mentioned you've only been kind of in this arena for 4 years, and you started off doing MMA and whatnot. So we kind of want to take a second to talk about how you got into the MMA arena, how that door opened. And the real question is, do you prefer MMA over wrestling? Which one has more of the payoff for you?
Okay, what's the first question?
The first question is, how did you get into MMA?
Okay, sorry. I got into MMA when I was around, I'd say 22, 23. I had recently quit judo. I started judo at 6 years old, and I just kind of had enough of it, and I decided to part ways and kind of just like live life. Because judo in itself is like its own very big bubble, and too much of anything is just too much.
Yes, 100% agreed.
Yeah, so I quit judo, and then I dabbled in jujitsu a little bit, and then the school that I did jujitsu in started offering Muay Thai classes, and then kickboxing, and then boxing. I really took to boxing. And then my best friend was like, hey, like, I just had a fight. This is going to be really fun. This is something maybe you should look into. And like, she's like, I know you're going through some things, can't figure it out, you know, but violence is the answer, you know, because you had other people going to a facility that also thought that violence was the answer. And, yeah, that's kind of, I was just lost, you know, I was really lost, and I didn't know what to do, what I wanted to do. I didn't have a plan, and fighting seemed like a great way to avoid every other question in my life. And, yeah, that's what got me into it. It was very, man, I just look back, I've been reflecting a lot, and I was a very emotional person, and I put that into athletic decisions big time.
Got you. So now that you've had a chance to kind of do both, which one do you feel like you get the most, I don't know, adrenaline rush, rise, payoff out of for yourself? Do you actually enjoy like the real, like, you punch me, I punch you kind of stuff? Or do you like the scripted, athleticism and storytelling that's in wrestling?
Kind of an unfair question.
Yeah, Cole, come on.
Sorry.
Yeah. It's really funny because in a really weird way for myself, I figured out for me how having both of those things still in my life, like I still train. I train jiu-jitsu, I train grappling, I box. I don't spar as much, but I stay funky with it. But I've realized that it helps balance out all of the mental work that goes into performing.
Right.
I don't even like to say wrestling. Like, it's a performance. Everybody does it differently. Mm-hmm. And it keeps me honest. It keeps me honest of what I can do, my confidence, keeps me grounded, keeps me humble. I still get my butt kicked. You know, it's nice to learn on a constant basis. And like, you realize the older that you get, that's important, because I'm not smart by any means. And I'm just dumb enough to know that I have so much left to learn. And yeah, that's an unfair question. Like, performing, I'm able to really hone in some serious emotions. I have like some serious demons, and I put it out there, and I get to do that as often as I do. It's like a very emotional experience for me, because I kind of tune out of, I just turn something off, and just one part of my brain is completely on. And, some people are able to be conscious of both realms while they're in there. And I guess that's the real magic trick, right?
I like it.
Yeah, 100%. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was done. Thank you.
No, I mean, I think that just being kind of in that zone, like you talked about, really, I mean, it applies to so many avenues, whether you're, into professional really any professional sport. If you're a baseball player, if you're a musician, there's just something to be said for whether you're aware of external surroundings or whatever else is going on or not. I think there's something to be said for, like you said, just being in that zone. And for a lot of people, I think that can allow for a better performance, really, for lack of a better way of putting it. Again, whether you're in professional sports, if you're a musician, etc. So, no, I love it. I love that answer. So, so we mentioned this earlier. We're gonna switch to some lighter talk and chit chat now. Kind of sticking with the timeline a little bit. You had your last MMA fight in summer of 2015. And then later that year, you and Mr. Roderick Strong, who, just going to put this out there, personally is one of my legit favorite wrestlers, you two got engaged. So can you share with us how you guys met and if your MMA career was in any way tied to that?
No, actually. So when me, Rhonda, Shayna, and Justin were all living together in Venice, California, in training and, just living our best lives.
Yeah.
Shayna was always into she was watching pro wrestling way before she was, way before we became a unit. She was the ingredient that introduced all of us to it. And we would on the reg sit down and watch Monday Night Raw or SmackDown. And that was our roommate time. Right. And, we all kind of pulled something different from it. And then we started, it was really Shayna. Shayna really did the work because she was, truly very invested and interested in it. And then, it's not fun. And she introduced us to something that was very interesting. And it was just a different element of what we were used to. And then we went to a PWG show, and I'm pretty sure Roddy was following me on Twitter before I went to that show. Because I'm pretty sure he tried to slide into my DM before then. But yeah, I just got out of a relationship, and he really literally just kind of swept me off my feet. He was just the very college varsity vibe from him a little bit in the beginning. And he's the cool guy on campus. His nickname was the bad mofo. I mean,
I love it.
I mean, and then you're around people who know that about you, right? So it was just that's how we met. We met at PWG, and then we ended up getting engaged and having a PWG kid. I figured out I became pregnant the last PWG show that Roddy did.
Okay. I'm a PWG guy too. I mean, we're based out of Illinois, but PWG's obviously in California, and so people always ask me, it's like how and why do you watch PWG? Because of PWG tends to be more of a, I mean, it's an independent promotion, but it's a bigger one. Right. But still, people are they're just kind of well, why don't you follow some of your more local indie promotions, which I do, but PWG has just always been something special, just something unique about it. So, no, great story. I love it.
Yeah.
So it kind of leads us into our next question from the standpoint of you kind of took a hiatus from combat sports, but was still very active and becoming a mom in April of 2017. Can you share what that transition was like from fighter to parenthood?
man. Well, I'll tell you, I didn't have a good night's sleep until Troy was like 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very stressful. There was just a lot of uncertainty. And uncertainty when you have so much responsibility is a lot.
Right.
And, you know, I was trying to figure out my own way, like, aside from Roddy, aside from the girls, like, I was trying to find, like, what it is I wanted to do. And I just, reflecting back on it, I really, I started training again. You know, I kind of viewed training, like, that was a moment in my life where, like, I viewed training before, like, I used to view it as, like, escaping my responsibilities. And this time I felt like I needed to dive into it to, like, really handle some responsibilities. Like, I needed to get strong again. I needed to get my head right. Postpartum was no joke for me. It sucked. I don't know if you guys know much about that, but it sucked. And it was my I dove back into myself with getting back into training. And then an opportunity came up where I was just getting back into shape, and that was around the time Rhonda had signed with the WWE. And, you know, the WWE showed a lot of interest in the 4 of us. And the rest is history, I guess. You know, like, they saw an opportunity, and I saw an opportunity, and we all saw an opportunity.
Right, exactly. So that response was perfect because it literally flows flawlessly into our next question. So in May of 2018,
That's because I'm psychic.
we're there. So in May of 2018, the announcement was made that you, along with Jessamine, officially signed with WWE. Whenever you first joined, what was the environment like, specifically at the Performance Center? And if there is such a thing, what was a normal day like at the Performance Center?
So the vibe at the Performance Center in the beginning was intimidating. You know, it was intimidating because for me personally, I was 1 year postpartum. I went from, like, a small A cup to, like, a double DE cup, and I had to be running around bumping. My body was not the same. My body was completely different. It was very intimidating. It was, like, very, very, very intimidating. Like, I knew I was athletic, but I wasn't I was nowhere near as athletic as I knew I could be. And overall, I felt like the vibe was put your best foot forward. Mm-hmm. You know, it was a very competitive environment. It was, people were just, people worked their butts off, and it was consistent. Like, it was hard. It was a very competitive environment for me. That's how I viewed it. There was a lot going on. I had a lot of learning. Like, there was people that were super vulnerable too, which was really weird for me, because in fighting, people, you know,
right,
they're not, I mean, nowadays it's completely opposite. In fighting, there's a lot more vulnerable people. Like, it's really, the spectrum has changed. I really think that has to do with millennials, and, like, everybody's their own psychiatrist.
Right.
And everybody's like their own, like, whatever. But yeah, it was fun. It was challenging. It was, man, it was very green pasture.
Well, and it kind of leads me to just a little side question, because at the time that you guys are coming in, we have a lot of indie talent that's in NXT Black and Gold. Like you kind of talk about you're kind of switching gears from, being in this environment and this arena to this new venture. But a lot of the people that are coming in, they already have had some of this pro wrestling experience. So can you kind of share with us what that learning curve was like, and like the differences between like what you guys had to pick up versus what some of them might have already had a chance to pick up working indie shows and things of that nature?
So this was my big first learning lesson that I actually had with that company. I realized it's not about like all the little things that you know. It's not about your capabilities. It's about what you have to offer. That is what is going to lay the foundation for any type of legacy, any type of, just any real influence on things.
Right.
What you have to offer. Now, what that means to you is going to be different from what that means to another person.
Sure.
And I wish I had listened to Chris Boss's books a long time ago. Let's just put it that way. I don't know if you guys know. He's like a master negotiator.
I've heard the name.
He used to work. Yeah, he used to work for the FBI. He has a book. It's called Never Split the Difference. And I swear, like, if I could go back in time. But people were very aggressive about telling me who they wrestled for, how long they wrestled for. And then it always went into what they deserved or what they thought they deserved. And it was, in the context of almost righteous. And that's a problem. I'm never going to brag about my fight. You'll never hear me brag about my fight. Ever. They were experiences for me that I felt like I needed to go through. And in fighting, I learned from the first week that I started fight training, you don't deserve anything. You don't deserve anything ever. In an opportunity, you don't deserve anything. You have to work. You have to work. You have to work. You have to work. You got to reintroduce yourself.
Yeah.
You got to get used to reintroducing yourself and letting people know who you are. And it doesn't matter how you do it. It doesn't matter how you say it. That's what you need to do, and it was interesting dealing with people who had been doing this for a lot longer than me.
Right. Sure.
And, I got excited because I felt like I could handle it. And, I say this, I've said this to my husband. I've said this to my best friend. I've said this to a number of people, but like, if I feel like if there's ever a day where I 100% feel like I have, like, I'm, like, I don't know. I don't want to say in over my head because we all are, but if I ever felt like I wasn't going to be a problem, I would step away.
I love it.
For sure.
Yeah.
And
I'm sorry, go ahead.
and that's actually, no, that's okay. That's actually where the problem came from.
Oh,
I mean, a part of it, part of it, like half of it has to do with my dad. And then like a lot of it has to do with that.
Wow.
Like if you don't have anything to offer, if you really feel like you're just going to live just to live and don't be involved in the things that deserve time and energy.
Wow.
No, for sure. And I think that's kind of, I mean,
Sorry, I always I really make things serious sometimes, but I'm I'm a hoot. I promise.
no, you're fine. I mean,
you draw me in. I'm like,
no, I agree. I'm just sitting here listening, and usually, I try to be kind of engaging with our guests. If I, we'll kind of interject and say sure and absolutely, things like that, just to make the conversation more interesting. But like, I'm sitting here just listening and holding on to like every word that you're saying. I'm just like, this is a blast for me personally. But no, I mean, yeah, the entitlement thing is just something that for me personally as well, that it's just one of my biggest pet peeves, and it can pertain to so many things under the sun. But it's just, I agree. I in any avenue or walk of life, I have the same mentality. Like, you have to earn your stripes, basically.
Right.
I just, those that feel that they are entitled to something just because X, Y, and Z, it drives me up the wall. So no, I'm glad you put it like that. That was so good.
So
thank you.
This kind of we kind of continue to work down this timeline, I should say, and not long after you guys do the Evolution pay-per-view, and I actually enjoyed this pay-per-view a lot, which is what kind of leads me to this question. One, what was that experience like of doing an all-women's pay-per-view? But why do you feel like they've not done another one since? Because I thought it was done very, very well, and it really, I felt like, put women's wrestling on the map, in my opinion, of showing what they can actually do, and that they're not like an opener, or they're not just like a mid-card type thing, but they are a main event.
The second question, I have no clue. I have no clue why they haven't done another one. I really don't. I think their thumbs are somewhere where they don't belong. The experience, though, was really fun. I got to bring my son, and my best friend was there. My husband was there. It was stressful because I was running on like 4 hours of sleep a night because I have my son.
Yeah.
Right.
And I don't think a lot of people know this, but we took Troy on a lot of road loops his first 2 years of life. Like, I would not leave him with anyone. No way.
I don't blame
you. No
you.
way. I'm like, we can, all we need to do is just like rent our own car and, that's it. Cool. All right. Yeah. Oh, we got to drive from here to there and it's 5 to 6 hours. Okay, cool. Yeah. As long as he's with me, I don't care.
Right.
And then what's really cool about that is, as I learn and experience this world and meet new people, I didn't realize how many moms there were in wrestling.
Yeah.
I'm part of the coolest club ever.
Right.
Like, legitimately. You know who I'll start beef with? All the other moms. Just give them to me, and we can do like a mom's wrestling show where we have daycare in the back. Like, that'd be cool.
That's awesome.
Love it.
That experience was really fun. It was really cool to just feel all the different energy.
Yeah.
Women it's just different. It's just different. We're all catty and bitchy and like, competitive in our own ways, but like, no offense.
Oh.
That's like kind of, and it's, you just take like, I've learned, I'm still learning ways to just like, accept that about that culture and like really not take it personal, because, that would be a problem. And I just don't take that personal. I very much enjoy, and I eat it up. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, talk your talk. You know what I mean? Like, I like it. Like, I that's why I my second question was that. I was like, man, if the energy that was around this, the just how cool it was, and other promotions would then go on to kind of do all women's wrestling type things as well,
which kind of further illustrates why they didn't have a second one.
But I was just kind of like, I thought this was going to kind of become more of an annual thing, at least an annual thing of something where we put the focus on this. And when I didn't see another one, I heard rumors of another one, but when we didn't see another one, and all the talent, especially before budget cuts, with all the talented women that were, kind of dispersed through NXT and SmackDown and Raw, like there was so much talent that I'm like, you actually need a pay-per-view to really showcase everyone that was there, and all the things that they could bring to the table. So
For sure.
that's definitely an interesting viewpoint, though.
Yeah, it was cool.
So during the event, you and Jasmine debuted. You would, align with Shayna. Did you? I'll phrase it this way: how was it pitched to you, as far as you three being in a group, or was it vice versa? Did you pitch it to WWE? What was the creative behind the scenes like, as far as putting you three together?
We were a group. We were friends. That's what we came in as. There were no negotiations about that.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we were a unit. Like, we were a unit, and there was absolutely no question about that.
Wow.
And I came in with a different perspective. Okay. So like, I felt like I came in with a mission.
Right.
And I had a job to do. So if that helps with understanding how, I don't know if you've talked to other wrestlers who have been hired by NXT, it's just different. I came in with initiative, and I just keep kicking myself in the butt for not really burning it down. Like, God dang it, Seth. Never mind. Just like, I just really feel like I could have done a better job, and it's okay. That's what life gives you. Lemons. You either just have lemon juice or you have lemonade. I don't know.
I like it.
That's the best analogy ever.
Oh man. But I like how firm you are on that, though. I watched Kyle O'Reilly kind of speaking on Renee's podcast, and he kind of talked about when they all came in, it was just kind of assumed that they already were a group. Like there was no disputing. I hate to use that word, but the Undisputed Era, like they were already kind of a thing, and Triple H just kind of naturally picked up on that and was just like, I guess you guys are a thing, There was no other way to do it. Like, it was either going to be this or not at all. Mm-hmm. And I think that's very apparent with you, with the three of you specifically, because obviously Ronda just kind of went main roster and never wasn't on NXT, but the three of you just came in and kind of were a wrecking force, which kind of leads us into this next question. Shayna Baszler would go in and kind of be this dominant force and really just run the table of the women's NXT division, and you guys would kind of come in and be a part of that run. But were there ever any creative discussions for you personally, or for you and Jessamine, to do tag stuff or to break away from Shayna, or was it always just kind of meant to be a group thing and it just never culminated to anything more off of NXT?
Well, there was never a reason for us to establish that we would be doing things away from her.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, I love that we didn't need to explain any of that, because that's what you would say real friends, they move through life and then they reconnect when they need to. And then they move through life and then they reconnect when they need to.
Yeah.
Your friends, are there to validate you. Your friends are there to have your back and help you understand, not help you understand, but like encourage you to understand what decisions are best for you in your own way.
I'll say this too, because I like something that you bring up, because I think wrestling fans have it in their head that every faction eventually has to split, or every group has to have like someone turn. You know, you see that with like the Shield, or you see that with, you know, even going back, you know, throughout the times of different factions, there's always that one that has to break up. But I love now that we've kind of gotten to a place where we don't have to do that to have an interesting story, or to have a highlight moment of a show or something of that nature. You know, I've heard for years the New Day needs to break up, or this group needs to break, and I was like, no.
Listen, everything is relative. In life, you're going to have friends who you're friends with for 3 years.
Right.
And there's other friends that you're going to be friends with for 7 years or 10 years. But then something happens. Maybe they learn something. You know, like,
right.
That's life. That is life. And I think the pressure of opinion is very stupid there.
Yeah. I mean,
it's a problem. I'm just gonna drop that everywhere.
Let's just make that the hashtag for today's show.
Feel free. No, but that's an excellent point. I mean, just an example for me. Whenever my wife and I got married, as far as my side of the wedding party, I'm not even friends with, like, I had 7 guys in my wedding party. I'm not even friends with 3 of them anymore. It's just one of those things. So
you're a popular guy. 7 guys? Wow.
Anyway. So kind of piggybacking off Cole's question, were you aware of any talks or creative discussions, et cetera, about maybe putting the women's tag belts on you and Jessamine?
We were not opposed to it. Let's just put it that way. I'm just going to leave it at that. We were not opposed to it. We were very intrigued by it. And we knew an opportunity layeth in front of us.
Okay.
I like how open-ended, like, there's so many ways you could go with that answer.
And you know what? And we're just going to leave it there.
Cliffhangers.
That's right.
Talk about another intriguing thing. There was this thing on Raw called Raw Underground. And did they ever kind of explain the end game of Raw Underground? Because you guys would get a win on Raw Underground. And was that supposed to be like a build for the main roster? Or was it really what everybody says and it was just like a thrown together thing? Like, I'm curious to know about this Raw Underground thing that was going on.
It was an idea that lasted. How long did it last?
A month and a half, maybe.
It was exciting. I had a lot of fun doing it. I had a lot of fun being a part of it. And then it went away. That's all I can say about it. It's I don't know too much about it. I just know that they wanted us to be a part of it, and we were. And we had, I think, I don't know. I thought it went well. Maybe the big man had other opinions.
I will say I did enjoy moments of it because when they actually brought in people that had legitimate fighting experience,
right,
it was way more enjoyable, I think. You know, when you actually could see real technique being displayed in those moments, it was like, okay, this actually at least is believable, and it's not like putting people who don't really have a knowledge of the sport on there. So I did enjoy like when you guys came on, or you know, Dolph Ziggler with his amateur background. Like there were certain things that like people did that I was like, okay, that's believable at least. But I was always curious because you guys got a win on it, and I was like, oh,
wait a second, you don't believe? Wait, you don't believe any of that was real?
No, I'm saying that there's some people I would believe is not real.
But that's the beauty of fighting, right?
Right.
Like it doesn't matter what level you are. It's telling. but you're still in a fight.
Right.
Like,
Yeah. No, I mean, I kind of,
sorry.
no, you're fine. I kind of wish they would have kept it though, because like you said, there were parts of it that were actually really enjoyable, and it wasn't this, you know, I don't know, like this mockery that social media made it out to be.
Right.
Which, I mean, and you know, I'm not going to get on
And
a
the,
social media
Yeah.
tangent, but like if they would have, and this is not a ripping on WWE session by any means, but if they would have stuck with some of the stuff they were doing and got rid of the, oh, what's the word I'm looking for here? You might have to help me out with this one. There's a word I'm looking for and it's not coming to me. Not showmanship, but like get rid of the sports entertainment aspect out of it.
Yeah.
And I would have loved it if it would have stuck with, like you said, just the.
well, you know what that is, right? That's a riff on Bloodsport.
Right. Which I
And they
guess,
realize that Bloodsport is such a unique beast, and it will forever be a unique beast, and they can't copy it.
Yeah.
Right.
That you cannot copy it, and you know.
No, that's a good way to
At
put
first,
it.
it was like, at first, like you can't have feelings when you're in there,
Right.
you know. So, yeah, I just, it's just different, and they could like, I don't think, even if they kept going with it, we would do our best, but there is just nothing like Bloodsport.
Right.
I'm sorry, you got to be there. You have to be there, and that's what I very much enjoy about that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, we had the dreaded quote-unquote budget cuts in June of 2021. WWE would release you from your contract. Can you tell us, who called you to inform you, kind of what the overall...
I don't really want to... It was a shitty experience because I was on my way to pick up my son from school. I'm sorry for swearing.
That's fine.
Yeah, it was just I'd rather not go about the details of it because
No worries.
Yeah, I don't. I was disappointed. I was really disappointed. I was more so disappointed that it happened literally while I'm driving up to pick my son up. So,
Yeah.
you know, I had to bite my tongue in the passenger seat, and my husband just, you know, it was crazy because like we're pulling up, and I just get off the phone, and you know, first up, like Roddy's like, we're picking up Troy, and I'm like, he's like, you know what? It's okay. Cause like, you always want to be your best self in front of your kids.
Right.
Sure, yeah.
And, you know, I had planned otherwise with what had just happened. And I was just disappointed.
Yeah.
And I'm a human.
Right.
And I was picking up my son from school. Like it sucked. But lesson, you know, it's just lesson. I can't, I let that kind of stuff destroy me before. I can't.
Right.
You just, there's a day where you wake up and you're like, I can't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
So
That's
we're kind of working our way down to our last couple questions here, and then we'll open it up to a couple fan mail questions. But before you departed from NXT, one of the most rumored, I guess, storylines that people wanted to see was this 4 horsewoman versus 4 horsewoman scenario, I guess, if you want to call it. But it almost always just seemed like a rumor. Was there ever plans to capitalize on what seemed to be a match that everybody wanted to see? I mean, it's kind of like a Survivor Series match written already for them.
It books itself.
Was there ever plans for that, or was it always just an idea that just floated out there?
I mean, the amount of standoffs and, the amount of interactions we've had with those, the faux horsewomen. I mean, a plan that hasn't happened yet. I mean, I don't know. Like, is that plan canceled? I guess it's I don't know. I obviously thought the intention was to move forward. I wanted to have some fun. I wanted to get all up in all of that.
Right.
Still do. But, today is a new day, and that's it.
Gotcha.
All right.
Sorry, I obviously really wanted to. No, I don't even know why I'm apologizing. I obviously really wanted to be all up in that, and it just didn't work out.
Yeah, and you took the words
but
right.
That doesn't mean that it's not an option down the line still.
For sure. And you took the words right out of my mouth. Like, no apologies are ever necessary at any point for anything. I mean, we're just here having fun, talking shop, and yeah. So I think you had the next question.
Yeah. So my last question, Alex, will give you one more, and then we'll go to the fan mail. But I was kind of doing my research on you as we were kind of preparing this, and I came across a quote that I got from one of your interviews that you've done, and I wanted to kind of go a little bit deeper into it. So you had made a comment that said nobody wanted you because you were NXT bred. And I want to get your thoughts a little bit more on this, because the NXT Black and Gold obviously was kind of considered one of the better wrestling products that were out there in the past few years. So my real question is, I guess, why wouldn't people want you? I think the thing I can take away from this interview is that you got a chip on your shoulder and you're ready to just work and beat up everybody in the process and become a real problem if we want to get down to the nitty gritty. So can you go into a little bit more detail of why wouldn't somebody want somebody that was NXT bred, that was on one of the hottest promotions or products that were out there at the time?
Well, I knew that moment was going to bite me in the butt. I was in a mood that day that I'm not going to excuse, and sometimes I still feel the same way. I just feel, because in NXT it's different experiences, and it's pro wrestling performing from a different perspective.
Right.
I felt a little bit, because I hadn't come up, through indie wrestling, that, for a second there, I felt like I deserved more opportunities than I had. I had to check myself, which I did. And it's not that I have a chip on my shoulder. There's, that's not it. It's more of, I'm a problem, and I'm the best problem performing. Like, I just wanted to work.
Yeah.
And this was no knock on the indie scene. This was no knock on indie girls. This was no knock on any of that. If you took it that way, I mean, oops.
Right.
I want to be out there, and shoot, man, I just want to know what I'm made of.
Right.
Yeah.
That's it.
And
I did feel because I came up through NXT, and the way that I came up through NXT, like, there were some people who, I don't know, just didn't appreciate it, I felt like. But that's not on me.
Right.
You know, like that's not on me. And that's just I did at the moment have a chip on my shoulder, but it wasn't the way that you thought it was.
Oh, and I actually
or the way that people thought it was.
Right.
I mean, and I don't really care at the same time. I really don't care what people think. Because I care what my inner circle thinks, and I care about making sure that my family is okay, and
yeah,
you know, performing.
Right.
And all I want to do is see if I can have the best performance.
Yeah, when I read it, I'm a huge fan. Like I absolutely loved what you and what happened with you guys and Shayna. Like I was always drawn to that storyline and was always hoping that there'd be more to it. So when I read this quote, it actually got me scratching my head. Like, this is somebody who has had what I feel like really great experience working with really great people. Why wouldn't, like, if I'm in charge of a promotion or something, why wouldn't I want to bring that in? Why wouldn't I want to bring in something different than other people? Because like you said, a lot of them are indie people, and there's no knock against that. But you do bring something different to the table that other people don't have. And so when I read this quote, I was like, man, if that's the case and that's how some people are acting, it's kind of discouraging and disheartening, because it's like, man, like this is talent you're leaving on the table. This is opportunity that you're leaving on the table, that you would think more people would want to capitalize on. So I just wanted to get more clarity, because I was kind of like, I'm kind of on the side of, I would want that. I would want more of that in what I'm booking and what I'm.
Well,
trying
I
to create.
appreciate that. I really appreciate that, and that, you know, that wasn't. That's just not a way to get an opportunity.
Right.
Is what but that's fine, because that's what this is all about. I'm putting myself out there. Some people want to know what my opinion is, and that's what it is.
Yeah.
What you do with it is not up to me. It's not.
Mm-hmm.
But I can speak on my words. You know, I just want to work.
I love it.
And speaking to, I guess more elaborating to the story you just shared, is one thing I loved about how you shared that is, any decisions we make, you can't control someone else's offense over something that you did or didn't do. And so, and it's not one of those things where you shouldn't, take someone else into consideration, situationally specific.
Well, when I got called to be let go, could they control my emotions?
Right.
Yeah.
Did they feel like they had any responsibility over my emotions? That's on me.
Right.
That's what makes me a That's what makes me a problem. That.
I love it.
Like,
absolutely.
that's just what it is.
Yeah. So we're going to wrap up our portion of the interview we're going to go back to some lighter talk, sprinkle a little bit more of that in before we get to some viewer Q&A. So I noticed on your the tag on your Twitter reads violence, coffee, motherhood, love. So I have to ask, as a coffee enthusiast myself, does Marina Shafir have a go-to coffee?
Like, that's general.
Like
I tone it in. Like, like the cup that I make for myself at home.
Just like any brand,
or a
any.
bean. I used to work at this coffee shop in Venice, California. It's called Groundwork Coffee.
Okay.
And they have their own beans that they sell at, I don't know if it's select Whole Foods. I gotta check the Whole Foods that's in our neighborhood. But yeah, Lucky Jack Groundwork Company coffee. It's amazing. And I also, if you're just like generic grocery store coffee. I know they have coffee from Hawaii. I just really like coffee from Hawaii. I don't know if you've ever had like the macadamia nut coffee from Hawaii.
I have
it's
not.
so good. It's so good.
He's about to go to the grocery store right now.
It's really, you can get it off of Amazon as well, because I know you guys are dealing with some nasty weather. I mean, it might be a few days, but there's one on Amazon. Just look up Hawaiian macadamia nut coffee. So good.
I'm intrigued by the macadamia nut side because my wife, she'll drink coffee, but she doesn't love it, but she loves macadamia nut flavor. So,
oh my goodness, she's gonna love this. She's gonna love it.
This could be a win-win for us both. But
yes.
Awesome. Well, before we get to some viewer Q&A, just first of all, I wanted to thank you again for hanging out with us and chatting today. Before we get to the Q&A, I wanted to give you an opportunity to let people know where they can find you on social media, as well as any websites, appearance dates, merchandise, and really any other ventures that you would care to mention.
Okay. You can find me don't find me there. Let me start over. Find me at Marina Shafir, pretty much everywhere. YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. That's pretty much it for me. I mean, I'm on Cameo, and on Pro Wrestling Tees, I Am the Problem, and we have a Stronghold T-shirt. Stay tuned. We are preparing to launch a family like little site. I'm very excited about it because we just moved into a new home, and we just have some exciting stuff coming up, and that Stronghold, Pro Wrestling Tees, Cameo, Twitter, Instagram, all that.
The Strong's T-shirt is really cool.
I love it.
Way.
Oh yeah.
If you haven't seen the Strong's T-shirt yet, y'all, you need to go check it out. It's a dope shirt.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
All right, let's get to some Q&A submitted from our viewers. This first question comes from Andrew B. He asks, what's the biggest struggle, if there is one specifically, you've had being a mom and a wrestler?
Biggest struggle, getting enough rest.
Okay. Let's see.
Yeah.
Trying to skip over some questions that we've already touched on. Okay, so this next question comes from Thomas Russell. Kind of a generic question, but he asks, what was it like living and hanging out with the roomies?
Very chill and relaxed. When we all kind of like went our own ways, I definitely went through like a little grieving phase because you just want to hang out and not feel like you have to do anything. It's just like when you become a parent, you just have that cloud. Like I have to do something at all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And now, like millennials are telling you, hey, it's cool to do nothing.
Right.
I'm like, what? I got a new house, a kid, and now you're telling me that it's cool to do nothing? Yeah, that's not going to swing. But just getting enough rest.
Yeah.
Getting enough rest. Yeah.
Can you give us like maybe one little thing about each of your roommates, like just like a little, I don't know, little knowledge maybe someone doesn't know about, each person that was like something you learned as being a roommate with them?
Like is one messier than the other, or?
Okay. Rhonda was super messy. But she was just really fun to live with. I really miss living with her. Like that's my sweat sister. She's it's just, I don't know, like that was my homie. Like we just we figured it out, you know, with
Right.
each other. And then like, it's just, I'll take her messy for her company any day. And Shayna, one of the first things that she did when she moved in was she made us coconut crusted tilapia or cod. I don't know. Like she
Ooh.
made us like this really tasty, like, dish with fish. I'm Dr. Seuss now. And it was really good. And and me and Jessamine used to actually go out for coffee. Like she was like my chill time. Like we would go out for coffee, walk the boardwalk, we would drive around a lot. We would go to training back and forth. Like we did like a lot of the hauling together. And, you know, Shayna did her own thing. Like it's funny because like on Wednesdays, I think we still have a video from this, but like we started doing this thing where it'd be like, hey, Shayna, you know what day it is? Shayna, do you know what day it is? You know what day it is? Shayna, do you know what day it is? She's like, it's Wednesday, hump day, woo woo! Like that's how we would do it constantly.
Yeah.
It was awesome. Yeah, but we would do it from like across the house. Like we were nowhere near each other. And there's like this slight pause. So it's like, you know, I'm like, hey Shayna, what day is it? And then it's like a 3-second pause because I'm pretty sure she's rolling her eyes before she does it. She's just like, hump day, woo woo! And then I know she cracks a smile afterwards because she tries to play it cool, but
I just had this.
she wasn't Shayna cool yet.
I just had this mental image of instead of this taking place at your house or apartment, that this would be like out in public somewhere at like a mall or something.
We should have done that at a mall. That would have been great.
Let's see. Next question comes from David Tilley. He asks, what is your opinion on intergender matches?
I love it. I love it if it makes sense.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, yeah.
Andrew B. also asks, do you think your son will go into pro wrestling one day?
So I've been asked that before. I don't care what my son does. I don't care what my son decides to do. He is going to be very educated on like risk of everything that he decides to do. Cause I wish my parents would have, you know, been more adamant and a little bit more encouraging on the things, like just information to help with my body. Like I just wish I knew more. But yeah, I don't know if he's going to be a pro wrestler, but I know he's going to be a gardener because that's going to be his requirement to do anything fun. It's going to be to like maintain his own garden. That's going to be like his responsibility. So
I love it. I feel like my son.
Yeah.
I feel like my son's going to be doing something similar because I mean it's literally, if it doesn't involve dirt. Well, I'll rephrase. If it doesn't involve dirt or wheels, then no part of it. Doesn't want anything to do with it.
And Troy is like he's such an outdoorsy kid. Like he loves being outside. And when you get him outside, it's like takes forever to get him back inside. He just wants to do one more jump, one more sprint.
Oh my goodness.
One more something. And, you know, like the little jobs that come with gardening, I think will be good for the whole fam.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's like pulling teeth getting mine to come inside as well, especially spring and summertime,
Yeah.
like get out of the pool. And it's just, anyway, that's a whole nother tangent for another day,
Yeah.
but we'll take a couple more questions. Billy Ray Milburn asks, who inspired you to get into wrestling?
I think it was a combination of, the girls and my husband. It was a combination. That's the thing with inspiration. Like, I was inspired. Like, I wasn't, I want to say influenced by my friends, but like, they inspired me because of how, like, there's certain things about wrestling that made them so happy.
Yeah.
And their willingness to, like, connect in that way was intriguing to me. And, I found it for myself.
There you go.
Like, I did. I found it for myself, and they inspired me to do that. They inspired me to, like, at first it was the drama. Oh, I love the drama. Oh my God, I love the drama. Ask Shayna. I mean, if you ever have her on. I love the drama. Oh my goodness. I was all about the stories and why is that person kissing that person? And oh my God, why did that happen? Did you notice that? Does that mean anything? Like, that was me. And then I got into, like, the actual performance. But yeah, they inspired me to kind of, like, dive in.
Awesome. So kind of piggybacking off your response, you mentioned that you love the drama aspect. Are there what are some of your, well, if/when you have time, because being a parent, I can totally relate. It's not like it's an everyday thing, but if you get a chance to watch TV shows, movies, what are some of your favorites?
So one of my top favorite movies is Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Okay.
I think that's such a funny movie. It's hilarious. And I'm a sucker for Jackie Chan movies.
Yes.
I love Jackie. Like, I'm saying, like, early 90s, like, Who Am I? Do you guys remember that movie?
Mm-hmm.
I remember it.
And
don't remember if I've seen it or not. But
Rumble
I know
in the Bronx.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah. Jet Li. Oh my God, everybody. Unboxed. Oh man, like, any action movies like that, like old school, totally down for. Huge Chuck Norris fan. Love me some good Chuck Norris movies. That's what I grew up watching with my dad, and that's what helped him learn how to speak English.
Okay.
So it's, yeah. What else? I know, it's like an array of things. When Harry Met Sally, love that movie. Like, when we didn't have any cable or internet, all we had was, like, a DVD player. When I used to live with Rhonda, like, the first time, that was one of the DVDs we had, and I would watch it religiously. Like, I'm like, oh, I watched this last night. I'm gonna go home and watch it again. And they're like, yeah, like, that was my movie. And
I still do
the
that.
drunk. Yeah. What else? So with my husband, we just finished watching Ozark.
Okay.
And we are really into that John Cena movie or show.
Oh, Wipeout?
No.
No.
No, it's HBO for.
Oh, Peacemaker.
Yeah.
Yes, Peacemaker is brilliant. Oh my God, it is so good, and it is messed up. I mean, that is very adult. So it's really funny.
You said that to crack a joke, though.
Yeah.
Okay. At first, I thought you were serious.
No, I was being funny.
Wait, why?
I'm
Why?
a huge John Cena fan. Like, John Cena is like my Hulk Hogan, because that's who I grew up watching. So I always get roused on the show for being a John Cena fan. And so when you mentioned that John Cena show, he's like the co-host or whatever of Wipeout right now. And so you're like, what's that John Cena show? I was like, oh, what, Wipeout?
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
No, and Peacemaker.
What do you think? What do you think of Peacemaker?
So it's an HBO series, and I don't have it. So I'm like trying to find a way to watch it because it's been like on the top of my. So I'm a superhero fan as well, huge superhero fan. So I really want to see it, but I have not had a chance to watch because it's on HBO. I think
HBO Max or
Yeah, I
what-
have.
Yeah.
I don't have it, so like I either have to like find time to get the free trial and like binge watch it within that free trial, or
Oh yeah.
or find a site that's airing it illegally.
Don't bootleg it. Don't do it.
No, don't bootleg it. Don't bootleg it. Because here's the thing. It's going to be a timing thing, right? It's going to be because when the time, like when that opportunity happens and you're going to have to like binge watch it,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to be honed in and paying attention to every single thing. When you get it illegally, you're going to have to like be wary of the connection, restarting it, like all that. What tax do you want to pay? I'm just saying.
Right.
You can go into this with a plan. It doesn't need to be like, I'm just going to do this.
So what you're saying is I need to find a friend that has it and do the Netflix thing where everybody just shares one account.
Sure. Or you can just do it and then cancel it.
I'm going to need a lot of emails. Because then they're going to put out season
Well, I mean-
2, and then I'm going to have to like do the whole thing over again to watch season 2. Because like they've already upped season 2, like it's happening. And I'm like, I'm going to get so behind on this. It's not even funny.
Well, you know, those decisions that you're going to make, and they're either going to create problems or not.
It's a real problem
Same.
for me.
I know. See how I do that?
Oh,
It's real
I
to
love it.
me.
Oh,
I love it. I love it. One last question, and then we'll let you go. Thomas Russell asks, and this is a great question to end with. What goals do you want to achieve in wrestling?
Oh,
You
you got me.
We got to end it with a deep thinker here.
This has been a question that's like on my planner. That's like the biggest one because, you know, my goal in wrestling is to not get hurt. I'm just kidding.
I think that's a great goal. I mean,
That's a good one to start with. at
just
least.
saying.
I don't know what my goal in wrestling is. That's a big problem for me. It really is. I'm trying to figure it out. That's genuinely my answer.
And I think that's great because it leaves an open-ended story, though, for you to
Yeah.
continue to show us on, you know, whether it's AEW Dark or any other show you do, what you're going to continue to do.
Yeah.
You know, it kind of leaves it open to where you get to set those goals as they come instead of just saying, I'm going to go do this. I like it.
Yeah, but I guess I'm the problem for me is figuring out what's worth my time.
Yeah,
You know,
100%.
everything should be a step forward. And like, I think people who have succeeded, like John Cena, he realized early on what was going to be worth his time.
Right.
I love it.
His time is
Yeah.
now, actually.
You
You
had,
can't see me.
you had to. Marina, thank you so much
This
once
is
again.
for you, buddy. Not for me. This is all for you.
That's right.
It's all for you, bud.
I love it. Thanks once again for just hanging out with us. Just your overall, candidness about sharing some of your story, and sharing maybe on the more sensitive side of topics. But again, we appreciate your openness and just for hanging out with us and for chatting with us today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Well, we're going to let you go and get back to your family and anything else you might have to do today. But I'll be in touch with you. I mean, at some point we might have to have you back on. Maybe for some more lighter talk.
We'll need to talk about all the problems you create here soon, too. So,
I appreciate you guys. Well, hopefully, I hope the only problem that happens is me. So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, we're going to let you go. Thanks, Marina, so much once again. And we'll see you down the road.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Oh man, that was a blast. So let's see, we got about 20 till. Do we want to tackle our draft board?
Yeah,
we get to that.
Into it. Yep,
So
let's get it.
All right, if you want to grab yours. Headphones are coming off here. Okay.
I need a marker.
You got one in front of you.
Oh,
wait.
I want a Sharpie.
You gotta have
I
a
want the
Sharpie.
honor of you get a Sharpie. I want the honor of
Okay.
having a Sharpie. Thank you.
Okay,
very much. Did we get a coin this time?
We do not. We're gonna stay
I've not had luck with this coaster. Okay.
Well, we're gonna stay consistent with the coaster.
I'm not happy with the coaster thus far. Because every time, no matter if I call it or not, I lose.
Well, I will let you decide if you want me to call it or you call it.
I'm gonna let you call it because I'm nervous to call it now.
Okay.
I'm gonna let fate decide if
Okay.
I get to go first.
So, guys, just to kind of recap, we started this draft on our 12-hour stream. So far, we have tackled our male wrestlers as well as our on-screen personalities and announcer teams. Both of us have used our wild card, so that is no longer in play for either of us. And
Which basically that was you can use it whenever for whatever category. It just had to be the end of whatever segment we were doing.
Correct.
So we both selected part-time wrestlers for that.
Yeah. Now, as far as today, which ones we're tackling? Broadcast company, and what was the other one? We're doing?
Part-time wrestlers.
Okay. Part-time wrestlers. So let's do broadcast company first.
Yeah, let's get it knocked out.
Okay. So you want me to call it?
Yeah, you call it.
Okay. So it's heads, logo up, tails, logo down. So I'm going to call it in the air. Heads. It is heads.
The coaster. The dreaded coaster.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So for my broadcast company, I am going to go with the FOX.
I knew it. I knew it. That was the top company that I wanted. All right.
Now, to clarify, it has to be a company that currently airs wrestling, does it not?
I wasn't going to stick to that, but I mean, we can make it that rule if you want to. I think Fox is a good answer regardless.
Yeah.
Because that's going to decide my answer.
Yeah, I'll stick with Fox because I think I know the direction you're going to go with yours.
Oh, do you?
Maybe not.
Do you think you know?
PBS.
I am actually I'm going back and forth between two
Okay.
because there's pros and cons to both of them. But I think I'm gonna go with ESPN.
Oh, okay. That's not a choice that I even had in mind. That's a good pick.
I was stuck between ESPN and NBC.
The NBC, yeah.
And just because NBC would be Channel 5, whatever, Channel 5 be on regular cable television or whatever. But
yeah.
I like ESPN, and I think I could do other things with the company just on a
Okay.
regular basis.
All right. That's a good pick, actually. Fair enough. Okay. So I assume we're going to do a toss again as well before part-time wrestlers. So
Let's do it.
do you want to call it? Do you want me to call it? Do you want to flip it?
I don't want to flip it because
Okay.
then it's just my fault completely at that point.
Okay.
I will call it this time.
Okay. Wait to call it in the air.
Okay.
So here we go. Okay, just to clarify. It is.
Yep.
Okay. Called in the air.
Heads.
It is
You
tails.
gotta be kidding me, Coaster. Because last time we did it, I literally called the opposite of what it was called last time, and I was always wrong. So I was like, I'm gonna call heads again. The dreaded coaster.
This is amazing.
Has ruined my life. Jeez.
Wow.
All right, go ahead and pick him or her, whoever you want.
Okay, so I actually need to be strategic about this.
Yes. Keep in mind, we've already taken Brock Lesnar. Alex has Brock Lesnar off the board, and I have John Cena off the board. We have both selected them as our wild cards. So now we can select 3 other part-timers, male or female, and to vocalize for any confusion, anybody that we've not already drafted as a full-timer, we actually can make them a part-timer if they're borderline. Like I would have considered a Bryan Danielson a borderline, an AJ Styles a borderline. Samoa Joe would have been a borderline. Someone who's kind of up there in age that hasn't been selected that could kind of be riding the fence.
Yeah. Okay. So
maybe I am cursed by Danhausen.
yeah, I saw that.
I shouldn't have had him shoot that video. He pointed right at me.
That's true.
Man.
That's very true. Okay.
Who's he going to pick? I'm interested because there's a lot of great names on the board.
Yeah.
And to clarify, we have 3 slots for part-time wrestlers.
Yeah.
And obviously we used our wild cards. So we'll each end up having 4 part-time wrestlers.
Yeah. Okay.
We have 3 to pick now.
I'm just making sure that
They haven't been selected already.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go. My first selection for the part-time wrestlers category is the Rated R Superstar Edge.
That's a good one. He would have been one of my top picks. So to counteract, I'm going to take PG Punk, CM Punk.
Okay.
I got to get a big pop too.
PG Punk.
I almost wrote it as PG Punk on my on my board.
Okay. You got the possibility of some cool matches. I mean, AJ and CM Punk.
Yeah, I'm liking my roster because there's endless opportunities to the point that I feel like I'm having a hard time making my pay-per-view card.
Yeah. Okay. So for my number 2 pick, this is probably actually going to throw you off a little bit. But I'm going to take him off the board, making him a part-timer, but he is also not available as a tag team wrestler.
Yeah.
Dolph Ziggler.
All right, now that you've done it, I literally had a team I was going to make fresh with him.
Oh.
And it was going to be called the Show Off and the Show Out, and it was going to be him and Roderick Strong together.
Okay.
And I really loved the idea of them two together, and now you have ruined, once again, my plans. Stupid coaster. So Dolph Ziggler's off the board. That's a good one. That's a sleeper one. He may not get like the biggest pop, being a part-time wrestler like coming out, but he's going to put on one of the best matches.
You're going to get some good matches.
All right. I gotta take him off the board. I'm scared you're gonna take him.
Okay.
I am gonna go with I'm stuck between 2. I'm gonna go with Chris Jericho.
Yeah, I wouldn't have taken him.
He brings a lot more than just wrestling to the fold. Jericho.
Jericho, yeah.
All right. Alex has one left.
Okay. Before I pick my next one, can we pick somebody if it's pretty much a guarantee that this person will be a part-time wrestler?
Yeah, I feel like if they're at the borderline part of their career, I'm okay with it.
Well, their full-time career is definitely over. I'm saying if they Okay, I'll tell you who I'm taking, and then we can discuss. My part-time wrestler that I would like to draft/recruit, Steve Austin.
I am going to allow it. I just mainly because, again, part-time doesn't necessarily mean that they have to wrestle every single time they're there. We're just talking about people who could come in and do one-off matches, and so far, Stone Cold technically could.
It's looking like it's happening.
He's been cleared to wrestle. It's more been a personal choice of his, from my understanding, that he's not. So I am okay with that. And
man, there is so much potential to my roster, from like building the future with some guys versus like current stars versus even going back for some nostalgia. I mean, you got the McMahons and Austin on the same roster.
Right now, just looking at it, not that you would book this match for your pay-per-view, but who would be the match that you would put Steve Austin up against right now if you were just out on a whim? Just curious. Obviously, you actually have the rumored one for Mania this year, but
yeah, I think the top three that I would likely put him with would be, I'll go top four because I want to include Steve Austin versus KO is a good matchup, but Steve Austin versus Killer Cross, Steve Austin versus MJF, Steve Austin versus Matt Cardona.
Okay, I'm actually like the Steve Austin versus Randy Orton really intrigues me.
Yeah, but I mean I guess no, they haven't done it.
I don't think so.
They never did it, did they?
If they did, it was not where Randy Orton was at his peak.
Yeah,
for sure.
So I don't. Yeah, I mean that'd be a good one.
Oh, so you've left so many.
I did.
Only having 3 on the board to begin with is hard because there's so many options.
Well, and my logic with some other guys that I could have picked is maybe backstage personnel, or tag teams,
for sure. Well, and you took one of my tag teams off the board without Dolph, because I was gonna try to reunite Edge and Christian, and that is no longer a thing. It is dead.
I didn't draft him. Oxen says Steve Austin versus Rey Mysterio.
I don't think that's ever happened.
But I didn't draft Rey Mysterio.
I know.
Did you?
No. He is actually on my list of part-timer potential that I could sign.
Yeah.
And so I'm just going to give you, I have 5 on my list right now that I'm debating between, and I'm having a hard time picking between them. I have Christian Cage in my top 5 right now.
Did neither of us?
No one has drafted him. He is.
That's what it was, because I considered him. No, Christian, yeah, I did. On-screen personalities.
Oh, geez. Okay. I didn't realize. I guess I missed that. I've been trying to delete him as I go. All right, so I have a top 4 right now then.
Okay.
All right, so number 1, whether people love him or hate him or not, he gets a pot, or he sells, I should say. Goldberg is on my list. Number 2, Ronda Rousey is on my list. Number 3, Sting is on my list. And number 4 is Rey Mysterio. So those are the 4, because anybody else I think on our potential list that could even been like maybes, I think are gone now.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anybody else. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm looking at the board, and I don't think I see anybody that's not on the board that would be in that like upper range of age that's still kind of currently wrestling. So let me look at my current roster. So we've already gotten Goldberg versus Reigns, so that's not intriguing. And I don't know if there's really any other one that's intriguing with him other than Braun Breaker. Because we already got Drew McIntyre in him. Ronda Rousey, that could be interesting because I don't know what kind of female roster I'm going to have yet. Sting is nerve. He's old.
So is Jericho.
Yeah, Sting is older than Jericho.
I would venture to say, though, Sting looks better in the ring more recently than Jericho has.
I'm actually thinking Jericho for more of his Talk is Jericho segments, or whatever. Was that what it was called? When he was on
the highlight reel.
The highlight reel. His ability to work the mic, to manage if he needed to, like, he could do a lot and still do one-off matches. And I think if he was to switch to one-off matches, we would be more impressed than his weekly stuff. So with that being said, I'm going to take Ronda Rousey.
Good pick.
Just, I don't know what my women's division is going to look like, so she might add to the and she's young enough to stay relevant for a while.
Yeah. Well, for what it's worth, I did have her pinned as one of my female full-timers, so that's a good pick.
I took her off the board. Let's go.
Ronda does not have an H in her first name.
I don't like how you're telling me how to spell my wrestlers' names. She is WWE product, which means I'm going to have to change how it's spelled.
Spelt?
Spelled it. All right? I'll put an X through it just to make you feel better.
All right.
So to recap, for those of you who weren't with us on,
now it looks like it says RXONDA.
Yeah, it's for looks. To recap from if you weren't with us during our 12-hour stream and what we've also done today, I'm gonna get like a quick little run through, and eventually we'll have a whole graphic made with all this, and we'll post it on all of our pages. But right now, Alex's roster for males is Bryan Danielson, Kenny Omega, Will Ospreay, Randy Orton, Walter, Cody Rhodes, Bobby Lashley, Kevin Owens, Killer Cross, MJF, Wardlow, Matt Riddle, The Miz, Matt Cardona, Brian Cage, Ricky Starks, Damian Priest, Davey Richards, Jungle Boy, and Samoa Joe. So we were able to draft 20 singles male wrestlers. Mine is Adam Cole, AJ Styles, Roman Reigns, Nick Aldis, Keith Lee, Finn Balor, Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, Ricochet, Johnny Gargano, Braun Breaker, Jon Moxley, Jay White, Zack Sabre Jr. I like doing that to irritate Alex.
Doesn't irritate me. I think it's hilarious.
LA Knight, Jonathan Gresham, Carmelo Hayes, Sammy Guevara, Adam Hangman Page, and Pete Dunne. We also, that same day, we drafted our announcer team, which was Alex has Pat McAfee, Corey Graves, Justin Roberts, and Nigel McGuinness. And I drafted Mauro Ranallo, Wade Barrett, Tony Schiavone, or pronounce it for me, how I spelt it.
Shivenois.
That's how we're going to say it on
Tony,
my show.
Tony
Shivenois.
Tony Shivenois
is his new name on my show. And Booker T. So we drafted those then. And then we also did, at the very end of our show, on-screen personalities. These are managers, people who can do comedy segments, anything along the lines of they just don't wrestle on a regular basis.
They can do cameos on announcing, stuff like that.
They are just there for entertainment purposes, or GMs. We also mentioned they could be GMs or play on-screen roles of that nature. So Alex, just so you guys know, Alex is drafted first in every single round.
I've won every single
due to the dreaded coaster toss for me.
We're not doing a coin toss. We're doing a coaster toss.
So Alex drafted Paul Heyman, Vince McMahon, Don Callis, Stephanie McMahon, and Christian, which was a unique pick, I thought.
The Peep Show.
I drafted MVP, R-Truth, Orange Cassidy, Danhausen, and Zelina Vega. And then it brought us to both of our wild cards that day. Alex cashed in very early, right after our male wrestlers. He drafted Brock Lesnar. And at the very end of the show, on our 12-hour stream, I drafted John.
And his name is John Cena!
Oh, you gotta love it. You gotta love it. And then it brings us to today. Alex drafted his broadcast company as Fox. I drafted mine as ESPN.
Which, to clarify, I was under the impression that we were only going to networks that currently have wrestling, but...
Would you have entertained anything that wasn't wrestling already?
Well, no, that's what I was about to say. I still probably would have went with Fox over anything else.
Fox was my number one pick because it brings forth a lot of great things. It's a sports company. It's on channel 2, so you have a lot more viewership. I love that pick. That's why I went with ESPN, because I still wanted that sports aspect to it. And NBC's actually gotten rid of that outside of like Sunday Night Football. So I drafted ESPN, and then we drafted our part-time wrestlers today. Alex, again, won the coin toss. He got Edge, Dolph Ziggler, and Stone Cold Steve Austin. And I got CM Punk, Chris Jericho, and Ronda Rousey with an X.
Ronda Rousey with an X.
So what's left on the board for us to draft? We'll be drafting backstage personnel. There'll be 5 of those. These are people that are going to be producers, helping with coaching, training, any of those aspects that go to backstage. If you want a recruiter, any of those things will be in backstage personnel. We'll also be drafting 5 belts. So we're not making our own belts. These are 5 belts that have been wrestling belts throughout time. The door is open on that. Indie promotions, promotions that are no longer around. And if you pick belts that have stipulations to them, those stipulations come along with that belt.
You're going to have a 24/7 championship.
I'm not going to have a 24/7. It's on my list, but that's if we get desperate times call for desperate measures, maybe. So
I don't think we can get that. Unless we are drafting like 15 belts each, I don't think we can get that desperate.
Right, for sure.
But however, the ground rules are it's like you can only have one main card title, one second mid card championship. I think we said one tag team championship.
And then probably a wild card of some sort. So basically a belt to represent each division. So you need one for male, you need one for female, you need one for tag teams, and then your wild card one, I guess, would be a secondary belt for either women or men or tag teams if you decided that's what you wanted to do.
Okay, so a world title for men, a world title for women, a tag team championship,
and then there'll be 2 belts left on the board that you can
okay,
if you wanted a hardcore champion, if you wanted a 24/7 champion, those are all options. So we'll be drafting that. We also have our big 4 pay-per-views that we'll be drafting. Again, those are across the board. Indie promotions are available, promotions that are no longer around. And again, if that particular pay-per-view had a gimmick to it or a stipulation to it, it comes along with the thing. For example, Survivor Series, if you drafted that, you would be having Survivor Series matches. You would be having that kind of...
We wouldn't be having too many Survivor Series matches. It's not like we have a ton of people on our rosters. We might have to do like 3-on-3 or something.
Well, with tag teams involved, you could put singles wrestlers and tag teams together pretty easily.
Well, yeah, that's true, I guess.
Have it happen. So that's just an option. But those are the 3 small ones that we have left to draft, and then we still will be drafting 10 tag teams. These are tag teams that either are current now or tag teams that have been tag teams in the past that you could reunite, and then we were allowing for 2 tag teams to be tag teams that you create out of wrestlers that might be out there that are single wrestlers that we've not drafted. So you can create 2 tag teams out of those names as well. So there'll be a total of 8 teams that have been together or are currently together, and 2 teams that potentially are brand new concoctions, which I would be shocked if Alex and I both cash in on 2 teams to create ourselves, because there's a lot of great singles talent that's still out there that we might be interested in. And then last but certainly not least, we'll be drafting 10 female wrestlers, and our goal is to have Kylie Ray back on for that. So I can win the coaster toss and draft her first, because I know Alex will do it just to spite me.
Okay, look, spoiler, when we have Kylie on, because we will be saving the female wrestlers for when we have her on. I still need to get with her and figure out a specific Thursday date when that will happen. But we are shooting for sometime in March. Spoiler, though, even if I win the coin, well, we'll probably keep it consistent and just continue the coaster toss.
The coaster toss.
You'll win one at some point.
We're getting close.
Even if I win, I will spoil it and say I will not be drafting Kylie first.
Ooh. Hear that, Kylie? You're going to be on Team Cole. So, anywho, we'll be doing that one. And then once it's all said and done, Alex and I will probably take a couple weeks. I want to give us time to really put effort into this. We'll be taking a couple weeks to put together with our brand a pay-per-view that you guys will then vote on who had the best brand build and who had the best pay-per-view. And my goal is to actually get graphics for this and really make it awesome. And we'll let you guys vote on it when it's all said and done.
How come no one has picked Veer yet?
He's still coming. I don't think he's made it to the roster board yet. He might make a tag team. You know,
You never know.
Yeah.
Guys, we're going to round out the show today, which, by the way, if you're just recently joined us, I know our viewership has kind of fluctuated ever since we had her on, but we did have Marina Shafir on with us for a good hour and a half. That was a fun conversation. Please go back and check that out if you didn't get to catch all or any of it. In a couple weeks, we have another special guest coming up. I want to play a quick promo, and we will be right back.
In 1986, the Kingdom of East Anglia saw the birth of their greatest son, an Anglo-Saxon warrior destined to be a champion for the ages and a national treasure for all time.
That's right. Thursday, March 10th, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Central. We will have the one and only Nick Aldis joining us as our special guest. Be talking all things NWA. He has a championship match about a week and a half after our interview at the Crockett Cup, so I'm sure we'll talk about that. Another quick announcement or two. I mentioned this during our 12-hour stream, but Cole and I are going to be doing another on-site podcast at the site of Glory Pro Wrestling. Once again, I don't have a graphic for it. We'll kind of get that prepped and be able to show you guys next week. But Glory Pro Wrestling, I believe the date on that is Sunday, March 20th. Probably, isn't that right? Sunday, March 20th?
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
I'm making sure I had it in my head right.
On the site of Glory Pro Wrestling's event, I forgot what it was called. Hang on. Glory Pro. If I can type wrestling, March 20th. Okay, it is called Good Times, Bad Times. Glory Pro Wrestling, March 20th at the South Broadway Athletic Club. And I won't spoil it, but we'll announce this next week, so you're going to have to tune in. We will be having a special guest on with us prior to the event. A very special guest, and that's all I'm going to say for now. We'll let the cat out of the bag next week.
It's a big one.
It's a big one. So I'm really excited about it, and we'll keep you updated on that. As far as our social media pages or website, you can check us out on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. Links are scrolling across the bottom of your screen right now. We have a Patreon page, patreon.com/Going Broadway Podcast. You can check that out. 4 different tiers for you to choose from. If you want to become a monthly financial supporter of the show, we'd appreciate it. Lots of different ways you can also support the show through our Twitch platform specifically. As far as subscribing, gifting subscribers, or gifting subs, sending bits, just a lot of different cool ways that you can financially support the show. If you would choose to do so, we would humbly and greatly appreciate it. Our shirts are up on our website. We do hope to get our new SKU up very, very soon. And you can check that out at goingbroadwaypodcast.com. Click on the shop and check those shirts out. But for now, for today, It's about that time. Cole, any final thoughts?
Guys, as always, thank you for watching the greatest wrestling podcast ever. We will be getting all of those interviews from our 12-hour stream up on our social media pages.
Yes.
As soon as we get them kind of edited and whatnot to where it's just the interview.
Just the specific interviews themselves.
So once we get those up, we'll be sharing those, and we just ask that you guys help us get the word out on those, because each and every one of those interviews were great. There was a lot of insight brought from all of them, and we would love to get that out to the wrestling community. So we'll be getting those out for you to check out then, as well as go back and watch this one today. Marina really put her heart on her sleeve in a sense, and really shared her passion for the business and her passion just for herself to be the best version of herself. And so I really encourage you to check it out if you haven't already, and to share it with those in the wrestling community. So please do that. And until next time, I'll leave you with your favorite thing in the entire world.
Thanks for joining us on a special Wednesday edition, and we will see you next Thursday.
This podcast was a presentation of LightUpMedia.fm.